Alec Show podcast.
Smart Alec Show, baby!
So moving on, right? So you went and started working for South by Southwest. What was it like in your different roles with South by Southwest, and more specifically, like what was it like, at South by Sports? Like, what was it like working with, putting together the panels and working with Adam Silver and the likes of Bill Simmons or Ronda Rousey?
Sure. Well, so how I got to South by was I left LA and I moved to Austin. And I did that because I wanted to have a more normal life and have that work-life balance that you mentioned, and just sort of be able to figure out more about myself than, that I was just this publicist person. Because I had been so lucky and so fortunate in many ways to be that focused very young, so that I was able to just have a very accelerated trajectory to success once I got into the working world. And so in many ways, I was a few years ahead of most of my peers and had a lot of really great opportunities. But that also meant that I did not focus any time on developing myself as a person in my 20s. And so I had sort of the sense of that, and I decided to move to Austin to pursue that because it seemed important. I didn't think that it was going to end well for me if I just stayed on this career 100% of my life lane. So, and I needed the time and space to do that. So I thought I would leave LA and I would leave entertainment behind. And I ended up very fortunately landing at South by Southwest when I moved here, which at the time, so I moved here in 2008, fall of 2008. So South by in general was much smaller. The film part in particular was very small and not very well known. And they asked me to help them grow it and help build their profile and to a more national brand. And then I started there just sort of as a way to get it into the city a little bit, and ended up spending the next 5 years running the PR for the film festival and programming. So that means like helping select the films and speakers, partially because I had all these relationships in Hollywood and I understood how to speak the language and how to make the experience valuable and enjoyable enough for the talent and the studios that they would come back and want to do bigger and bolder things every year. And then bring in the national media attention. And at the same time, I found life and hobbies, and I did build a work-life balance into my life, and that was really wonderful. Awesome. So I did that for about 5 years. I did that from 2009 with my first festival through the 2014 festival. But around sometime in 2013, I started getting kind of bored, frankly. I did not want to do PR anymore, over PR. I liked film, but it was not my passion. Okay. And, I felt like I felt my own work ethic slipping because I just was disinterested in the things that I was doing. And to some extent, I had built this thing and it worked, and I could keep tinkering with it and making it a little better every year. That's the advantage of an event, but it just was not firing me up. So what I realized at the time was that I was a lot more passionate about sports. And so I thought, wow, like, how do I start working in sports, but stay in Austin, not make a lateral move, not do any PR anymore, probably not work in events because I don't really love working in events. And I looked around the room and it was like, that's not a thing. That doesn't exist. I can't completely change my career and change industries in one leap. But simultaneously, a guy named Steve Sable passed away. Do you know who that is?
No, man, I don't.
So he was the pioneer behind NFL films and sort of the creative visionary who led to things, style of sports filmmaking that really brought in these kind of heroes and triumph and tragedy. And, you've probably seen iconic shots of a football, like knuckles tightening on the line and cold breath coming out in slow-mo. And that was NFL films and Steve Sable. And he passed away in fall of 2013. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love Hard Knocks. It's one of my favorite shows. This is the most incredible style of filmmaking. And, we got to do a panel on this for the film festival. And so I went out and programmed that, just cold called people to come. At the time, I called Connor Shell, who at the time was with ESPN Films, who is currently the head of content at ESPN, is going to be leaving at the end of the year. But back then was head of films. And then a guy named Ross Greenberg, who was at HBO Sports and made Hard Knocks for them. and a guy from NFL Films called Ken Rogers. Anyway, I put this panel together. It was like the most exciting thing I did that entire year, and it was very telling to me. And after that, it became clear that there was opportunity at South by Southwest to do more sports programming. And because South by Southwest had such a standing in both the technology and the cultural landscapes, I was able to design the concept of doing a mini sports conference as part of South by Southwest. So South by Sports is my baby that I came up with. So I got them to agree to do this South by Sports thing, which was going to be 3 days of panels and sport-related films. So it would be part of both interactive and film and open to people from both. And then it was kind of off the races. So the programming was the idea of looking at the future of sport from the South by perspective of culture and technology. What that really meant is that I had essentially carte blanche opportunity to create any programming that I was interested in, because it could be any sport at any level. And I went out sort of a novice in the sports industry, but with the South by Southwest brand and infrastructure and audience and opportunity behind me, and got to knock on the front door of the very high level of the sports industry across all the sports. And that was how that all got started. So Bill Simmons, for example, is somebody who was, ESPN wanted him to speak for South by Southwest Interactive. And I knew his publicist, who I'd gone way back with to all my Warner Brothers days, who I'd remained friends with and had maintained a relationship with, a guy named Louis Kay. And I called him and I said, Louis, he knew I was interested in sports stuff. I said, Louis, I'm starting a sports thing at South by Southwest. It's called South by Sports. If we announce it with Bill's name attached, it's game over. It begins. Like that's us, immediately validates us. And it's still going to be part of interactive. It's a subset, but it will just be branded South by Sports. And, you know, he got ESPN and Bill on board to agree to that. So then we put out, you know, an announcement that was in the New York Times with Bill Simmons and South by Southwest and South by Sports. And that really did it. That immediately kind of gave us a legitimacy in the sports industry, which is how we then had speakers like Adam Silver and Ronda Rousey and Odell Beckham Jr. and Megan Rapinoe and all kinds of folks over the next few years as I built that.
So without you, there is no South by Sports, basically.
True. Yeah.
Very awesome. Well, thank you for putting that together. I was really looking forward to going this past March, and I think I told you about it. But then, you know, with the COVID situation, so hopefully, you know, things are able to happen, you know, this coming year, and it sounds incredible, and I'd love to attend. I mean, like, that's amazing that you put that together and you can pool so much talent and so many cutting edge conversations within the same place. So that's just incredible.
It was a blast. Yeah. I mean, again, it was something I was passionate about, so I gunned for it, you know?
Yeah,
it's just a pretty strong through line for me. So, if I'm interested in it, I'm going to make it happen. Yeah,
no, that's powerful. So do you think it was a product of you feeling no longer challenged in your previous role with South by and looking for something new to conquer?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't know that I didn't intend to create a new role at South by, but it ended up being the way to do it. And so, you know, while I kept my job essentially and continued working with the same company, I totally changed my industry and what I was doing, because I was producing and, you know, doing all the business development and curating all the content and managing a team and pulling together this different kind of vision, and not doing PR and not doing film. Absolutely. So I really did a pivot there.
And what's Ronda Rousey or Megan Rapinoe, you know, some of the biggest female athlete names that we've seen, you know, in the past decade, what are they like? And what was it like working for them amidst, you know, this movement within women's athletics, you know, the U.S. women's national team, the success they've had in the past few years, and Ronda, the success she had in the past decade? Like, what was it like securing names like that for South by Sports? And
it was incredibly exciting. I mean, I was very proud of it, and it really also, again, just, you know, when we got names like that, it really continued to cement our legitimacy within the industry. And they were fascinating to listen to. One of the disadvantages to running an event like that is that you really don't get to participate in the event.
Yeah.
So I would get to sort of quickly say hello, watch a little bit, and then I had to dash off to the next thing. But, you know, I know that Megan was there in 2015. So it was pre-World Cup, pre-Women's World Cup that year. So she was already like a fascinating character and an excellent player, but she was not the worldwide superstar that she is today. But we were very fortunate to have her.
Carly, right? Carly Lloyd at the time was still captain. And
yeah, it was like Abby Wambach was really the superstar of the 2015. Yeah, Abby, Carly, Hope Solo was still on the team. Alex Morgan.
For sure, for sure. Man, that was just
Sydney LaRue.
Dominant team.
Don't be such a smart Alex.